You were calling that Habs game last night, and man, they're buzzing. They are
Yeah.
buzzing. They responded well to Saturday night. They beat the Rangers on Sunday, and then they beat Tampa last night in regulation. And you wake up in Montreal today, and they're in a playoff spot.
It's very interesting, man. 13-3-1 in their last 17, and they had the day off on Monday, and then so Tuesday morning we show up to the rink. We're kind of expecting a whole team skate, and it's a very lightly attended optional. And it kind of dawned on me, like, these guys have been on the road so much since the Christmas break, and the schedule's been such a grind, so much so that Sunday's game against the Rangers was the first time in almost, I want to say 3 weeks, that they didn't have to get on a plane to play a game. And there's been a lot of games in that stretch. And so the result of that was a really sleepy first period. Like, there was not a lot of energy, not a lot of juice in the game. They were kind of just a step behind it. The penalty kill kept them in it. And then it was like they just kind of shot out a cannon from there. Like, all of a sudden they found it. Tampa looked a little bit slow. Vasilevsky looked a little shaky, like he lets in the one from the sharp angle by Slavkovsky, and then Evans kind of beats him with a little bit of a knuckler, and another pretty gritty effort where, they had that Sunday against the Rangers. 4 times they came from behind and eventually won. Didn't play with the lead until 2 minutes and 15 seconds left in the game last night. There's something. You talk about vibes, man. There's some kind of vibe going on with that group, but like, it's not a fluke. It's not an accident. They are like they have found something within that group.
Yeah, they really have. And the goaltenders, this Dobeš guy, and like his commentary after the game on Sunday, I believe it was, right after the Rangers win, where that was his first home start at the Bell Center, and he played to the crowd brilliantly. And I'm assuming that was organic. He may have been helped out, but talking about the greatness of Montreal and the history and the fans and how awesome it was, like, you can't ask for anything better than that, because he's been a revelation for them ever since they put Primo on waivers. Like, this kid's shown up. He's been great. Montebo's been pretty good at times, really good at times, and they kind of have this two-headed monster, and I'm sure people in Montreal are loving that idea, because that's the best way to chip away at a playoff spot, is make sure you get good goaltending.
Well, think about this. He's played 5 games. He's got 5 wins. That's 10 points that you maybe weren't budgeting for. Like, 10 points in this, span of the season. That's massive, in the grand scheme of things. And so, you're probably not getting those 10 points realistically with when Primo was in the net. And this guy, like, now, the way the hype train starts. It's the same way in Toronto as it is in Montreal. It's like, oh, maybe Dobeš should be the starter, and they got to give him a run of consecutive games. But, and then last night, Montebo has a nice bounce back performance where he was getting peppered early in that game. And he kind of showed signs of the goalie that he was, right after he got named to the Canadian Four Nations team. So it's a good situation in net. And I think if you look at Dobeš, you say, this guy got us 10 points that weren't in the budget. And that's found money. Those are bonus points. And that's why you sit there in a playoff spot today. And, I come back to this, like, it's not an accident. And Marty St. Louis had an interesting quote early in the season when they were struggling. They were giving up goals left, right, and center. And he was asked about a number of things, but his one quote was, "I'm not looking for a Band-Aid solution. So if it gets worse from here, I don't care, as long as we come out the other side, feeling better as a group." And like, you can honestly say, when you go 13-3-1 over your last 17, there wasn't a Band-Aid solution there. Like, they've figured it out, whatever was ailing them defensively, and now they're one of the highest scoring teams in the last month in the NHL. Never in my wildest dreams would I have imagined that, but Line A adds that. The star players are playing really well, and it's a good situation in Montreal.
Frankie, could you pull your crystal ball out? I don't want to put you on the spot. We were talking about how tight the race is in the East with the wild card. Do you see them there at the end of the day when it's all said and done?
There's a very good chance, like you and I were talking about this not too long ago. Like,
Frankie,
this
yes
could
or
be the
no
year.
question. Yes or no question.
I'll give you a yes. No problem. I'll give you a yes. And if you're giving me yes or no, I'll take the yes, just because think about what they've had to do since the Christmas break, all the teams they had to beat on the road. Like, this is the part of the schedule that was going to sink them. Florida, Tampa, Vegas, Colorado, Washington, Dallas. They won all those games on the road. Like that's kind of what can cave you in, and they made it through that. So if they've kind of come out the other side, and there's still going to be some hard games for them, and they're going to have to stay healthy just like everyone else. But I would lean more towards yes than no, and I would even put Ottawa like right there with them and say like Ottawa might be that team that's just a step above all the teams in the wild card race right now. And it's crazy to think that like there could be 5 teams from the Atlantic making the playoffs, and the Bruins might not be one of them.